Hello, Etheleen Kale here with my two favorite co-hosts, Mike
Howdy, folks.
and Binoka.
Hello.
And we're here to explain, as the queen of vaccines, how respiratory viruses work and why seasonal cold is so different than COVID-19 or even the measles. So for starters, well, it's worth knowing that viruses are deceitful little parasites. Wolves in sheep's clothing, all of them are. They trick cells into opening up and letting them inside, which is the last mistake that cell will ever make. Because once inside, the viral RNA and proteins turns the cell into a virus factory. And before you can say Bob's your uncle, hundreds of evil baby viruses start popping out of the infected cell like gremlins. And that's how the infection spreads. So, how do they trick cells into opening up? By pretending to be something friendly and helpful when they are anything but.
Oh, you mean like Phyllis in Apartment 2A?
Binoka, I am surprised at how insightful you are. Yes, they're exactly like second floor Phyllis.
Etheleen, it was just a sweater.
From Ann Taylor. Ann Taylor.
How about I show the people watching what the COVID virus looks like?
Yes, I think that would be a good idea. Now you've got me all upset about Phyllis.
I didn't bring up. Oh, never
Moving
mind.
on. Do you see those little spikes sticking up from the surface? The ones on the COVID-19 virus pretend to be compounds that keep blood pressure up called angiotensins. And they can fool and infect any cell that has the angiotensin converting enzyme known as ACE2 embedded in the membranes. Binding to ACE2 is what starts the infection. Those spike proteins act like keys, evil keys, that open up innocent, unsuspecting doors to these deadly invaders.
That was beautiful, the way you said
Thank
that.
you.
But people are texting me wanting to know if this will be on the test.
Test? Somebody's been telling porkies because there is no test. There's no test, dear viewers. This is for your own edification, to help you make better healthcare decisions. And we haven't even gone to the most important bits yet, and that's the location of those cell entry receptors, because that tells you what tissues and organs are going to be hit the hardest. So, for example, the ACE2 membrane proteins are not just found in the lungs where COVID hits first, but in most major organs, including the heart, blood vessels, kidneys, practically the entire digestive system. All of them can be infected and damaged by the COVID-19 virus. It's not always respiratory failure that kills people with COVID. It often ends with the collapse of these other infected organ systems.
Oh, nobody likes a collapsed organ.
Oh, heavens no. And the other respiratory viruses have their own cell entry receptors that they deceive. For most cold viruses, it's a version of an intracellular adhesion molecule called ICAM1, found only in the upper respiratory system.
Will this be on the test?
There is no test. I'm just explaining to the simpletons who are watching this, not you, of course, why it is that when you have a cold, you mostly feel it in your nose and your throat, because that's where the infected cells are, the ones with the ICAM1 membrane protein.
So it won't be on the test. What about the measles?
Well, the measles virus targets two very different cell entry receptors that team up like supervillains often do in the movies, not just to make you sick and miserable, but to make everyone around you sick and miserable. The first, abbreviated CD150, is found in the lungs on the surface of some mobile scavenging white blood cells. Once they get infected, they wander off to every corner of the body, infecting other white blood cells as they go. You get a nasty skin rash that spreads from head to toe, itchy eyes that are red with conjunctivitis, and that's just what you can see from the surface.
That's not a very attractive
Oh,
look.
not at all. And it gets worse because in many people, the conjunctivitis leads to blindness. And as it spreads to the ear, that can cause deafness. Other complications are even worse because pneumonia and encephalitis can even lead to death. Over 100,000 deaths worldwide from measles in 2023 alone, and most of them were children, most under 5. And there's another cell entry receptor, Nectin-4, that's found in your airways. When those tissues get infected and inflamed, you end up with a terribly sore throat and a dry cough that can easily spread this potentially deadly infection to anyone nearby, friends and family alike. Maybe even the second floor Phyllis. And wouldn't that be sad?
It was just a sweater.
From Ann Taylor? Did I fail to mention it was from Ann Taylor?
But doesn't the body fight back?
Well, yes, of course it does, and it usually wins. Almost always if you've seen it before. But I've got an appointment in 10 minutes at Jeannie's Beauty Parlor.
First time?
So,
Genie's, I mean.
explaining how the body begins fighting back. We'll have to wait for my next exciting video. Etheleen explains infection protection. So until then, cheerio!
Exciting. Did I miss something?